Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I am your host, Teri Wellbrock, and I am so grateful that you're here. Before we dive into today's conversation, I want to share some beautiful news. The Healing Place podcast has been ranked number 11 in the top 15 healing podcasts for 2026 by PodRanker. And to be included alongside the likes of Oprah and Dr. Tara Brach is something I truly receive with humility and gratitude. This recognition belongs to the entire community, to every guest who has shared vulnerability, and to every listener who shows up ready to grow, reflect, and heal. Whether you're walking through grief, trauma recovery, addiction healing, personal growth, or spiritual expansion, this is your space. A space for compassion, a space for courage, a space for healing. And I am so glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting others. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting, loving, liking, leaving your reviews, joining me on my Facebook page of the Healing Place podcast, connecting on LinkedIn, wherever it is we connect. Again, I am so grateful for you, and this wouldn't have happened without you. So thank you. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I'm your host, Teri Wellbrock, and always smiling and doing a happy dance. But today I'm really, really smiling, doing a happy dance because I have this beautiful soul with me who's now a treasured friend. And we are connected through the Nirvana Network, which she is spearheading. But this is Becca Edwards that we're going to be talking to today. And we're also going to talk about her role in recovery curated healing. So I'm going to read you this amazing list of all the things and more that Becca is doing. So holistic nutrition and meal planning, mind-body instruction, doula support, breast cancer support, recovery dharma support, which I'm curious and want to learn about as well, therapeutic writing, and guided meditation. So welcome, Becca.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Again, there's so many things. We could probably have a whole episode on each of those things.
Yeah.
So talk to us about the inspiration behind your work and how you came to be doing all of these amazing things.
Yeah, and I actually just came from a luncheon where I was trying to explain this to people, and it's hard to give it an elevator speech pitch. But I have my master's is in writing, and I've written about women's wellness for about 25 years, and along the way got certified in several different holistic modalities, like different types of yoga, Pilates, barre, holistic nutrition, birth doula, meditation, positive transformation, a lot of different things. So as I was writing about things, I'd get excited and then really deep dive into it. Also along the way, from 2022 till about 2 years ago, we had quite a series of things happen in our lives, and really significant things, one of which was my breast cancer. And I really felt like that there was a missing connection between not only the client or patient with the practitioner or provider, but also with the provider knowing other providers and having a more shared experience and more shared dialogue between holistic, integrative, functional, conventional medicine. So, and I found through my diagnosis and just through these past few years that healing is not one size fits all. It's nonlinear. You know, you might be going the right direction, then take a few steps back. Also, what works at one point might not work at another point. So I wanted to be able to really meet people where they are and have a very comprehensive database of like the best of the best providers in the area. So that's really where the Nirvana Network came into play. My goal with my business is to meet someone, and I think we're all recovering from something. It could be something as minor as you're having some sleep issues, or you just, shoulder pain, something like that, to something more significant. It could be disordered eating, it could be cancer, it could be dealing with trauma. So I come in and I hear about what's going on, and we look at short, medium, and long range plans. Um, and I really want to take the fear out of healing. So what I mean by that is like, and so if you'll look at the Nirvana Network, we've got a few different yoga instructors, a few different massage therapists. I think people really connect with different people in different ways. So whenever I have a doula client that comes to me, I say, hey, there are a few other doula practitioners in the area. I'd love for you to meet them all. You're going to share this special time with this person. I really want it to feel great. So it's just very important to me that when you're picking someone to help you on your health journey, that you feel supported and a connection with that person. Because I think we've all been there where we have had someone, a practitioner, a provider that we didn't connect with.
Yes.
And it made the healing, um, it made the healing more challenging.
Yeah. And I love two things that you said. One of the things was when you talked about people like when something works for a time and then all of a sudden it doesn't work, the
Mhm.
opposite is true too. Like I've had people say, oh, I tried yoga, it didn't work. I went to one class and I hated it. Well, it could
Mhm.
have been that instructor or that particular kind of yoga. And
Mhm.
so I say to people, oh gosh, kind of like therapy shopping. Oh, I tried therapy, I didn't like the therapist. Oh, well then shop around, like find that person, which is why I love this show, because it allows people the opportunity to listen in and then go, oh, I really resonate with this person and their
Mhm.
message. So I love
Absolutely.
putting you out here because there's going to be listeners all around the world who are listening and going, oh my gosh, this Becca person, like there's that click, right? You just
Right.
resonate. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that first of all, when you have a challenge, it can feel daunting. And again, it can be something minor or something major, but it's an impediment. It's something in the Buddhist tradition, we call it dukkha, which I think is really kind of funny because it kind of sounds like dookie. We all got our dookie, right? And, so when you're going through it, there's that kind of initial reaction like, there's this thing, I feel stuck, I'm against it. There's this impediment to happiness, right? And so when we can start to alleviate that pressure by saying, hey, there are a lot of options out here. You're not the only person that goes through this. You are valid and you are special, but there are some solutions out there. This isn't somewhere, you know, where there's no road to recovery at all.
Yeah.
When we can start to let people know they're not alone, that there are multiple options, that there are people that they can connect with. My hope is that they become hopeful about their recovery, about healing.
Yes, beautifully stated. And I tell folks all the time, and I've said it for, gosh, going on 9 years now on the show, is create a healing toolbox for yourself because
Yeah.
what may work one day, I know for me when I was initially learning breath work, it didn't work for me. I couldn't do it because I was too terrified to be in my own body. And when I focused on my breath, it made me focus on my body. And
Mhm.
I still had too much trauma that I needed to still process. And so, but then once I did the processing work, oh my gosh, now breath work I love. So
Mhm.
I had it there, I learned about it, but it was like, I'm going to hold that for later. So yeah, I love that idea of, yeah, having multiple modalities and practitioners and so many options that you can turn to when needed.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that way about meditation. It's something that I love now and can't live without. But when I first started, I was 26 years old. I decided to go to India and live there for 6 weeks and work with a swami and like go from ashram to ashram and learn about different techniques, just different um, applications. And I also bought a kind of spicy romance novel at the airport on the way in. And I remember the first time I get to India and I'm like all ready to be zenned out. And they said it, you have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and you have to be silent, which I'm not really good about. And and to go into our first meditation. And I'm sitting there and all I think about is my spicy romance novel. And I mean, I was like, I wonder if they're going to end up together, you know, like, and I was like, they call it chitta, but like I was full of mind chatter about this romance novel. And I remember leaving there and I was like, oh, darn, I got 6 weeks of this. Like, I'm going to be terrible at this. And I just slowly would like, I think what happens is when we, too, sometimes with modalities, when we take out the expectation or like how we think we are going to feel about it, or we take out like, hey, that was one kind of wackadoo experience, but I'm open up, you know, trying it again. When we take out the judgment and just surrender to what can be, I think we learn a lot about these different modalities in a very individualistic way.
Yes, and that, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up as well, because it's true how we come in with these preconceived notions, or you're right, these judgments on our experience, a one time experience, and then it's like, hold on a second, let's take a step back, and like you were able to recognize it could have been then or later, but oh, wait a minute, I was preoccupied with this other thing, and
Yeah.
yeah, which is hilarious. I love
And
it. Did they get together?
they did. They did.
All right, good.
It's always that he can't, she won't, and he can't, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
When they get together, it's boring, you know?
right, exactly. You got to wait till like you build it up and build it up and build it up. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you about recovery dharma support. What is that?
So recovery dharma it's used a lot for addiction. I have a daughter who struggled with, she has like clinical OCD, severe OCD, where it really interrupts her life. I liked the idea of recovery dharma. So with OCD, she would fixate on one thing and it would really, I mean, like just the compulsion and the inner dialogue for her was really disrupting in her life. And so it's kind of similar to someone that's going through addiction. She did not have an addiction, but she did have this intrusive thoughts and just really was struggling with her OCD. So recovery dharma, it has 4 major steps. So step 1 is there's dukkha, there is suffering in this world. Step 2, there is a cause to suffering, and it's craving. It's when we're craving something else. We're craving to be happy, or we're craving for her to, it was like she was finding that she was trying to crave like this balance and this kind of control in her world. Um, Step 3 is there's an end to suffering. And that comes from reducing cravings from, and that's really where you start to look at impermanence and realizing once we really, and impermanence is like you can talk about it, but you have to really kind of feel it inside to really let it resonate. But once we realize that happiness and sadness, so sukha is happiness, sukha and dukkha are both impermanent. We lose our attachment to positive or negative. And it doesn't mean that we're boring or complacent. It just means that the idea is to allow you to be in the moment because you're not, because sometimes when things are super great, we're like, oh my gosh. I remember I was a really serious basketball and soccer player. And whenever I'd have a really good game, it like, you know, it might be something funny, like I had a penny in my cleat or something like that. And so then I wanted to have that awesome game again. So I kept putting that penny in my cleat. Well, the next few games maybe weren't so great. But the penny was there, right? So um, allowing ourselves to realize that things are impermanent, whether they're good or bad. And then step 4 is there's a path to reducing craving, and it's the eightfold path. And the eightfold path looks at, so it's divided into wise understanding, wise, let's see, wise concentration, wise speech, wise action, wise livelihood, wise effort, wise mindfulness. Oh, and there's like one more in there. But it basically gives you a framework for being mindful and for ethical living so that when these things happen, when someone cuts you off in traffic, or when you have this craving for something, you sit with it. Um, you 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 use your wise brain, you use that mid cortex. So we're not use the prefrontal cortex. We're not using the limbic system. We're using this balanced part of our brain to really think through it. Most emotions and cravings and anger are pretty fleeting if you just let the wave ride through.
Yeah.
I tend to be someone that has to work on her road rage, believe it or not, with the traffic circle in Hilton Head, because like no one seems to understand that you just kind of keep flowing, you know?
Yeah.
And I have to be
Or
like, this
that
is not like
the right lane doesn't turn left in front of you. Yes, I
right,
understand.
right. But when I really use my wise mind, because that's like I some of these things that our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, they can pop into our brain. That's not the problem. It's what we do with them. It's
Yes.
how we feel about it.
Yes.
And, you know, that was a big thing for my daughter to learn. And Recovery Dharma was just a great approach to living for her. And I use it in my own life. I every morning meditate and go over Buddhist principles and just try and really read through them. And every time I might read the same principle for a week straight and I'll find something new every time.
Yeah, I love that. I practice. I mean, when people ask me when I'm on podcasts doing interviews, what is one of my favorite go-tos, and it's mindfulness practice. And this is what it sounds. I mean, I heard you mention mindfulness as one of the 8 steps, and yeah, and it is a matter of just bringing myself back into the now. But I love the idea of reminding myself, oh, I'm not going to be stuck in this particular emotion forever. Like it's going to subside. It's going to, ebb and flow. So yeah, very cool. Um, the other thing that I wanted to ask you about was I have not had anyone on here to talk about doula support. And what is it, and what do you do to support folks?
So I am a full spectrum doula, so prenatal, birth, and postpartum. My third daughter, I almost lost in utero and during childbirth, and it was a really small hospital, a Hilton Head hospital. My doctor couldn't get there. A friend of mine had just delivered a stillborn in the room next door. It was a very, very traumatic experience. My husband was like I ended up delivering the baby with the nurse. No doctor was in sight. She was still in the amniotic sac. She was a preemie. My husband was like getting a Snickers bar. I mean, I was like by myself and I like happened to like zap the nurse, the call button and say, listen, I think this baby's coming right
Yeah.
now. And so she and I did it like just the two of us. It was like old school. Anyway, and they had to resuscitate my daughter. Her APGAR score was 1 initially. It was pretty scary. Um, and it was the first time in my life where I realized that she's my third, but I realized I could lose a child. All of a sudden there was this kind of mortality that I hadn't been awakened to before. I just kind of thought you had babies and it was fun. And, I taught yoga and running up until I delivered the other two. So I really felt alone. I had a hard time naming my daughter initially. And that hurts to say, because I love her. 15 years old now, and my prenatal, the tallest of my kids, and she's great. But I felt it was so scary at the time that I think my brain kind of went to disconnected. And I realized in that moment that this wasn't okay. And by the way, the reason why we had all the complications was due to a doctor's mistake after my second child. So it was none of this should have really happened
Wow.
if anyway. So anyway, I just vowed that like I was not going to let another woman feel that way. And so I started a birth doula program here on the island 15 years ago with DONA International. And so I was the first, our group was the first to get certified. And then DONA continued to have certifications here for about 5 more years. So there actually are a few Hilton Head certified. It's from DONA International, but there are a few different doulas on the island. And they all come, one isn't able to have her own children. Another woman, she had a daughter and she wanted to be there for her daughter. Kelly LeBlanc, who's a chiropractor in the
Yeah.
Nirvana Network. Everyone comes in with these different stories. The main purpose of a doula, and there also are death doulas too, which I think is interesting. But a birth doula, my job is to, and I don't come in with any judgment. I don't, if you want all the drugs in the world, that's fine. If you don't want any drugs, that's fine. I'm not supposed to insert my opinion in any sort of way. I am there as support to help the mother and partner, but mostly the mother, feel supported, feel safe, feel heard. Um, and when things are going crazy, they have someone to say, "Look at me, we can do this." It's really about making the birthing experience as beautiful as possible. I sprinkle in and the movement and the mindfulness and the prenatal side and the postpartum side, because I think a lot of times when a mom has a baby, everything's on the baby, like all the focus, but the mom is also needs a lot of love and a lot of focus. This is a lot on the female body. And postpartum, I think, all of a sudden it's all about the feedings, this, that, and the other, and the mom can get lost in the mix. So I really try and make sure the mom knows that she never should feel unheard or unseen.
Wow. So, so beautiful. I mean, as a mom of three kids myself, I instantly flashed back to my second, my youngest son. Um, and they've induced because he was overcooking. So I went with inducement, which now I've heard horror stories about, but I was induced, and this was back in the early or mid 90s. And I remember that I had an epidural, and I was feeling an incredible amount of pressure, a lot of pressure. Like I felt like a bowling ball was trying to come out, right? And I had buzzed the nurse, and she came in and she was just so unpleasant and said, "I just checked you. You were only 4 centimeters dilated. No one has ever gone from 4 to 10 in 15 minutes," and just gave me a whole lecture about it and left. And the doctor was not there, not in the hospital. And I said to my husband, "I think you need to look. I think the baby's coming." Like, and he looked and he was like, there's a head." So buzzed her again, and I said, "This baby's coming." And she finally slapped on her glove and examined me and said, "Yeah, this baby's crowning." And the doctor's in a car wash, stuck in the middle of a car wash, and he can't. And not kidding, he walked in, and Jake came out 2 minutes after he walked in. So, but it
Yeah,
was a matter of me being persistent. And you think,
yeah,
oh my gosh, like how many women are just like, "Oh, I'm going to listen to this, professional who's telling
mhm,
me, oh, there's no way I'm this dilated." And yeah,
yeah,
and complications
yeah.
can.
A doula advocates. I mean, luckily, I've worked with Hilton Head Hospital, Bluffton Medical, Savannah, um, Beaufort Memorial, Coastal. I have always met really, really great labor and delivery nurses. So I'm sorry you had that experience. Um, but yeah, we need some advocating. I mean, and sometimes I think women they don't know they don't even know that they need to advocate, right? I used to be of the mindset a doctor is a doctor is a doctor. And I had to learn through that process, through my cancer, that ask questions, and if you don't really know what to ask, find a person that can ask those questions for you. Information is key. Things don't go well when we don't have information, when we're afraid or we don't know our options. And there are always options, and there should always be information available.
Yes. Well, again, I just think it's amazing that you're doing that. And I mean, I think all of us and what we're doing and what you're doing, it's about empowerment. Like we're empowering people to do we obviously can't heal people. We have to be able to heal ourselves and do the work and ask the questions and find the answers. But we need those guides. We need people whose hands to hold. So, and I love what you're doing, because all of it you're doing is amazing, because what a gift to offer people a hand to hold. Um, So let's talk about Nirvana Network for a minute, just because I'm a part of it. I love it so much. I just was telling my son this morning on the phone, standing outside getting some vitamin D for a few minutes, and I said, um, I was telling him about, you being at Wahi and the table set up and all that. And I said, I just feel so blessed to be a part of this group, this community of right now women, but of healers. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for doing what you do to bring us all together. So shine a light on Nirvana Network a little bit.
Right. So I'm really thrilled with the group that we have put together. I mean, and I think that it's the best in the area. I think that the people that are team players and are don't put ego in the work, that they are really trying to look at the best interest for um, really creating a higher standard of care throughout. I think these are people that are in it for the right reasons. Um, I have learned a lot from this group. So I really wanted the providers, I think I said this earlier, I really wanted providers to know each other. I wanted there to be a relationship beyond just the patient. When I was going through cancer, my oncologist and my radiation oncologist were good friends, and it was really, they knew each other, and that allowed them to get to know me better. And I really, like, for example, I had a doula client. I was able to talk to, um, she had some trauma that she was dealing with. She had some health issues. I was able to refer her to a clinical therapist. I was able to talk to, like, so I do holistic nutrition, but I really wanted her to have a clinical nutritionist. So that's Lindsay Ford. I was able to contact her with Amy Spatafora to do sound healing and look at tinctures and teas that were safe. So, and I could have done a lot of things for this client, but this network did way more than I could ever do. And she ended up having this really beautiful birth. Um, and I really believe in coming from a place of abundance and not scarcity. And I think when we work together, and it can be tricky in a small town like this, right? But I think when we really work together, we see so many great things happen. I mean, I see, like, you've come to workshops that I've done or speaking engagement that other people have done. I see people now going out for coffee and then maybe deciding to get a new certification together, or like Jen Brewer has these great retreats, going to that. I mean, so it's just really great to see all of this just grow in depth, grow in kindness, grow in support. I had so much fun at the Walkie event today, bragging about y'all. I mean, I really did. And I'm like, and here's our published author, Teri. Here's our published author, Charlotte Hartwick. Here's another, and like, I was just so proud to know y'all. And I was so proud of what we're doing. And I think the information we're putting out there is very solid information, very well researched, very heartfelt, um, very much from an open, learning, curious mind. So there's no stagnation here with this wellness. This is like wellness that's going to keep growing and create and hopefully keep just spreading their arms around people that need help.
Yeah. And I love that we have such big aspirations. Like all of us are like, oh, let's do, a big retreat with all of us. And let's do like a big wellness thing and bring folks like, we're all so excited about wellness and
Yeah.
the possibilities because we've seen it, we've witnessed it, we help people. And I just, again, I think it's so cool to be a part of it. So thank you again.
Yeah.
Um,
And you
well,
inspire us, just so you know. I mean, like when just getting that big recognition for your podcast, number 11 in the world, when we see each other doing great things, it's like, oh, hell yeah, we can do this. We can grow these things. This is a viable, successful, and also like, paying it forward job. So I think that you in particular have been a real inspiration to a lot of folks with all the different things that you've accomplished.
oh, well, thank you so much. And I because I still suffer. I don't want to say suffer. That's not the right word. I still um, am working on imposter syndrome. Like even with all the stuff, right? That
Mhm.
I still am like, oh, do I really like, would people really want to learn from me on how to work through forgiveness? And yeah, they really would, but it's
Yeah.
like I have to convince myself of it. And so I love it that I have all of you amazing souls who I can be like, how are you doing this? How did you set this up? How are you, like, I'm picking people's brains as we go. And it's just so great to have a collaborative group that is like, oh yeah, this is how I've done this, and such beautiful conversations. Yeah.
Yeah, our last meeting, people got very vulnerable about taking, big steps. You're talking about publishing your book about forgiveness, and I think doing a program, an online course around it as well.
Yes.
And, around the room, women were vulnerable, and women that seemingly have it all figured out and by all means seem very successful in saying, like, I remember when I had to take my first loan and I got denied at the last minute, or, and I think a lot of women, I taught a 6-week therapeutic writing, Blue Zone Positive Transformation um, course at local collective. It was a 6-week course. And the very first workshop was about aim, looking at it, knowledge, intention, and moving through, or, having a goal, but like how you acknowledge it, what's your intention behind it, and how do you move through any obstacles that might be in your way, or how do you move towards this intention. And I think that first class we had 8 people, and the majority of the women in that class named imposter syndrome as the thing, the block for them that they needed to move through. And I think that, and I'd love your thoughts on this. I don't know why that seems to be so pervasive in the female population, but and maybe men have it too. My husband definitely does not have it. But anyway, but it seems like we um and I do, okay, and added to that, I think it happens at a certain age too. I think that there's a part where maybe our kids are more self-sufficient, or, there's the second act that I see a lot of women doing. And then that's really, I think, where they think, well, I've never done this before, and I'm 40 something years old, and like, or I'm 50 something years old, and, is this really going to fly? And I say go for it. You know what I mean? Like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
I think the worst thing can happen is like us not doing the thing, like that unrequited urge to do something.
I love that. Oh my gosh, it's so true because it's still going to be there going, you should have
Yeah.
done it, or, you still have time, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are the things that haunt us at 3 a.m. We might as well just get rid of them, do the thing so we can
Right. Right.
sleep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, I certainly want to give you an opportunity to speak upon anything that you wanted to touch upon that we haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, so I would invite anyone to check out my website, recoverycurated.com, on Instagram, Recovery Curated. There's also on my site is the link to Nirvana Network. I really recommend people checking out and seeing the different people. They can always contact me. So our first discussion is free. I just want to hear what you need. I just want to hear your goals, your wants, your desires. And then from there, we can talk about putting a plan together and who I think would be a good fit for you. Um, and I think the other thing that I would really recommend is if you go to the Nirvana Network, following the different podcasts, getting on people's e-newsletters. I think there's a lot we can learn from each other. I really encourage, if there's something I can learn from someone out there, please contact me. Let me know. I'm always curious about learning. I started out as a journalist. That's really where my heart is. Um, and I really hope too that women don't feel alone, or men. I just don't want anyone to feel alone in their healing journey. And again, I think we are all healing from something, whether it's minor or major or something in between. Um, and that's what's allowing us to grow. That's what is allowing us to evolve. And you can evolve in a really kind way.
Yes. Well, again, thank you, thank you, thank you for your beautiful work, for all you do, for all of us. Like I just feel led by you in so many ways. Like I look at you as just such an inspiration. So thank you. Thanks for being here on the show too.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
All right. And so what is your website and Insta and all that fun stuff?
recoverycurated.com, and then my Instagram is recoverycurated. I don't, that's all I do for social. I probably should do
Okay.
more, but that's it.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm the same. Like I have an Instagram, but I'm hardly ever on it unless I like dual post on Facebook or something. So yeah.
My three teenage daughters are always like, Mom, you got to do something cooler, and I'm like, I don't know. I think cool went out the window a while ago, kids. So
Right, right, right. I did do a TikTok thing. I took a TikTok class. And so I was like, oh, I'll create a TikTok. And I made some cool videos on, I don't know, it was like ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. And they got pretty big hits. So I should probably get back on just to make some fun videos and stuff, but I just haven't done it. So
anything you do is going to be great. I promise.
oh, thanks. You're awesome. All right. Well, thank you again for being here. And it's just been such a pleasure.
Thank you. All right. Take care, everyone.
All right, everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock here. Just wanted to thank you again for being a part of this healing space and my hashtag Hope for Healing journey. Thank you for sharing, liking, inviting others to join, listening in. You've really helped this show blossom. It has now been downloaded in 136 countries and is in the top 2% globally out of 3.2 million shows, which is just amazing. And it's all because of you and your tuning in and inviting others and sharing and liking and loving. And your reviews on Apple really help too. My goal is to hit 100 5-star reviews by the end of the year. And I am closing in on that. So if you are listening in on Apple or Apple Podcasts, please go and rate the show and leave a review if you absolutely love it. And I would be most appreciative. Also, if you would like to receive my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, please be sure to go to teriwellbrock.com. It's TERI, just one R, WELLBROCK.com. And I have a gift to send you for signing up for that monthly Hope for Healing newsletter. Plus, there are many other resources listed on that page, including a resource library. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.